Now there's a few different ones in here, as you can see, very usefully titled ones. Some of them I didn't end up using, like the fresh bass that's depreciated, my little coding scheme there. But let's take a look at one of the ones that was requested. In the drop where I start to rap the
Back to 73, the first time that you heard of me.
That's this funky bass. I was really quite pleased with how that turned out. It's a lot attributed to that Wow plugin. Again, this one's from Sugar Bytes. Really, really nice plugin. Gives this kind of guttural grittiness to the tone by using a band reject filter combined with a bit of distortion, and the resonance gives it a lot of tone as well. So feeding all that back in, and it's really nicely put together. And then Camel Fat. Just got a filter on there, giving it a bit more high end with the resonance. And you can see I've just got a pitch down there. 2 different notes with the siren in between it. And that just ended up giving a really nice, powerful start to the verse. The way I've made that synth, if we can find it, massive one, convenient. Big air growl bass. I've got 3 different really nice sounds from the wavetables in Massive. This is obviously why Massive is ideal for dubstep and drum and bass and those kinds of big, scary, bass-heavy genres. It's because it's got all these really convenient sounds straight in there. They're a bit more interesting than conventional saw waves or whatever. So I've got this one here, rooted to an LFO, so the intensity kind of changes the sound over time, gives it a bit more movement. And this wasn't something I really planned out. A lot of basses in Massive I tend to find more happy accidents than anything. You'll play around with a few of these wavetables until you find some that kind of work together, and it can take hours, and some days you will not get anything that works. But I've tended to find there are some things you can apply which are kind of global, that kind of help. This modulator and oscillator gives a little bit extra tone. You can hear that it was a bit too high-pitched and piercing. Turning on the ring modulator on the high-pitched offender really helped there. The tube distortion gives a bit more beefiness to the sound. Dimension expander widens it really nicely. Don't have the size too high though, otherwise it gets really roomy, scarily roomy. And then the EQ, we've got the high shelf brought up again, and the low shelf because it's a nice big bass. A little bit of tone from the parametric shaper, parabolic shaper, my mistake. And the LFO here, you just change it to sync through the same every loop of the track. No filters on this one, I ended up turning off the filter I was playing around with. And I tend to find that of all these different settings here, the bend plus and minus gives a really nice movement to the tone. Again, it's just something you want to play around with. So you've got, if I break it down, and all together. Remember, that's with wow on. Without it, it's a lot thinner. So again, this is the kind of thing that you'll probably find your own VSTs that give you these extra edges. I'm sure I've heard Homicide is a good one for that kind of thing, and multiband distortion. It's just a case of playing around and seeing what works. Then I've layered that with a sub,
Back to 73, the first time.
which is just sine wave. I'll show you one more bass. This one here,
Got one life,
from the verse that Josh did.
watch me go.
Yo, yo, yo. Again, wow on there. Really helps tighten up the sound. Not quite as much actually as the other one, but this one we've got 3 different sounds. Grain giving it the majority. Bit more of a mid-range. And that gives it the watery tone. It sounds like some sort of Transformer robot gargling. I guess everyone needs oral hygiene. But then that's simply run through into a bandpass filter, which really helped to tidy up the sound. Bandpasses are quite good, and band rejects as well, at making these sounds and then layering them up with a sub to give it the low end. I'm pretty sure people like Noisier do that kind of thing all the time. And then again, this is the age-old favourites, the Brauner tube and the dimension expander, along with the P shaper. Parabolic shaper. And that's EQing, cutting the mids, boosting the highs. So that pretty much covers it. There's a few other basses that I've actually told you how to do before. There's the that is my Cerberus bass. I'll put a link to that one here. I'll put a link to my previous making of tutorial here, if you want to keep learning about how I've made my tracks. And I have got some more tutorials, including a nice 7-day song, and more cool collaborative videos coming up. Hit like and favourite, subscribe if you enjoyed it. Hope you found this useful, you guys. Cheers for watching, and have a nice day.